Hello and welcome back to MTT Finance. My name is Michael, your host here on the channel, and I've decided that in today's video, it's been quite some time since I made a debt payoff update video. So I would like to take you guys through a little bit of an update of what's been going on with paying off my student loan debts. After all, one of the big motivating factors for me when I made this channel, in addition to telling you all about what I'm learning about personal finance and encouraging others to take better control over their finances, was that I wanted to document and video journal my journey to becoming debt-free from my student loans. So just to give you my little backstory, back in May of 2018, I graduated with my master's in occupational therapy, and then in November of that same year, 2018, all my graduate and undergraduate loans became due. Thankfully, I was blessed to have a job in the career I went to school for, and so I was able to immediately start making those payments on all the debts and the payments that were due for my student loans. Now, at that time, back in 2018, for my undergraduate loans, which was basically my private loans through Sallie Mae, I had around $54,986 of debt. And for my graduate and undergraduate loans, which was in the government loans, I had around $83,867,000 in debt. Totaling that all up comes to just under $140,000 in student loan debt. And I will take a little quick pause break from this video to say, if you are in school or you're thinking about going to school, to college, make sure you are not, like me, overpaying for school. There's many ways you can be checking to see that you're not overpaying for your degree, because I believe I really did, and now I'm actually paying for it. So just make sure that if you are wanting to go to school, or that if you're in school, that you're not overpaying for your degree. That's very wise advice, if I do say so myself. Anyway, back to the video. As I already said, back in November of 2020, I began this channel and started making videos on what I was learning when it comes to personal finance and sharing them with you guys, my viewers, along with wanting to document and video journal my journey to becoming debt-free from student loans. So to give you the quick progress update on where I'm at today being March 24th, 2021, on how I'm doing with my student loan debt accounts. At the time of filming this, I've been able to get my private student loans, my Sallie Mae loans, down to $33,482, and my government loans I've reduced to $71,407. That means that I'm currently at a total number of $104,889 of total student loan debt. So sadly, I'm still just under $105,000 of student loan debt. Like I said before, make sure you're not overpaying for your degree. But when it comes to the journey of paying off student loan debts, it's all about celebrating those small victories and the slow progress you're going to be making over time as you faithfully contribute and reduce your debt. So it's going to be a slow process of paying off all this student loan debt, but I know it's all about celebrating the small victories and slowly watching my debt amount decrease over time as I faithfully contribute month in and month out to reducing my debt. Since beginning paying off these student loans back in 2018, I've calculated that I've put just under $35,000 at the time of recording this into my student loans. And now I would like to share with you 6 tips or 6 strategies that I'm using to help reduce the amount of debt I have as quickly as I possibly can. I will be honest and say, when I first started paying off my student loans, I didn't use these strategies, and if I did, I would be at an even higher number for the amount of money I've contributed towards my student loans. So strategy number 1 to paying off my student loans is that I'm paying a lot extra each month contributing towards my student loan accounts. Just to give you an example, I recently checked what my Sallie Mae, my private loans, minimum amount due a month would be if I paid the minimum amount due. And I think it's just over $300 due every month. However, I scrap that because that's weak. Instead, I put down a minimum of $1,000 every month towards my private student loans. By doing this, I know that I'm going to more rapidly pay off my student loans and reduce the amount of compounding interest that the lenders get to collect from me from borrowing money to pay for school. The second strategy that I'm using to pay off my debts more rapidly and quickly as possible is that any extra money I have goes towards paying off student loans. You can ask my wife on this one. I don't really spend my money on fun stuff yet. Instead, if I get money, let's say for a birthday or for Christmas or a holiday or something like that, what I'll do is I'll usually take that money and designate it towards paying off some monthly expense such as groceries or electricity or something like that. And then if there's something left over, I will then use that money to put towards my student loans, or I will just automatically take that money. If all my monthly payments are accounted for, I'll just take that windfall of money, that check that a relative gave me or something like that, and put it right towards my student loans. That way I know that on top of the normal amounts I'm contributing each month, even more money is going towards it, which will then more rapidly help me pay off my debt. The third strategy that I'm using to pay off my student loans is called the Avalanche method of debt payment. And this is when you prioritize the loans with the highest interest amount first, and you make more lower payments or minimum payments on the other loan accounts. So I don't really make minimum payments on any of my loans. I already told you guys that. So basically on my accounts that have a higher interest, I'll put more money towards them. And then the ones with the lower interest, I'll contribute a little bit less, but still well above minimum. By doing this, I know that over time I will be saving myself some money, as I will be removing more quickly the loan accounts that draw and collect the most interest for the lenders. The fourth strategy that I'm using to pay off my student loans, and this one is a little bit more temporary, and you'll see why when I say it, and that is while my government loans are being deferred, I put the money that I would put towards my government loans and put it towards my private loans, which are still due and collecting interest. As you may know, we had a pandemic last year, and my government loans went into deferment, meaning they're not due at the current time and there's no interest being collected on them. Now, when it first started, when they first deferred the government payments, I was still faithfully making those payments on my government student loans. However, after much debate with myself, I decided to stop paying towards the government loans and allocate that money to my private loans, which are still due and they still collect interest. That way I can get rid of those ones, those interest drawing loan accounts first, and then hopefully I can get those out of the way with and then focus on both once the government loans are no longer deferred. At the time of filming this, they are deferred until I think September 2021, but we'll see what happens. Strategy number 5 that I use to more quickly pay off my student loans, and this one's a little bit more heartbreaking, but that is while I am paying off this high amount of debt I have for my student loans, I'm being more frugal, not just with spending on fun things, but also on investing. I am a big proponent of the importance of investing for your future. I want to be able to retire someday. I know I'm not going to really be getting a pension when I do retire, so I want to make sure that I am set for retirement and possibly even able to retire from my job or work in general early. Now, in order to do that, I have to be a faithful investor and invest in index funds and stocks and stuff that's going to set me up so that my money is going to grow and beat out inflation, etc. But while I am paying off my student loans, I'm being really frugal with how much I'm contributing towards the stock market at this time. I would love to take the money that I'm putting towards my student loans and just put it into the stock market and watch it grow. My philosophy is that the debt I have right now and the interest rate on the debt would actually beat out the amount of money that would grow in the stock market unless I had some crazy win in the stock market. But even still, I think it's actually a better decision to focus more on my debt currently, pay that off as quickly as I can. That way I can then switch over and start really going ham on investing for my future. And finally, strategy number 6 that I use to more faithfully and better pay off my student loans. And this is one that kind of culminates in all of them. Without this one, the others really don't happen. And that is I'm making sure that my finances are in check and that I'm budgeting each and every month. So without knowing if my finances are in check and I'm able to cover all my monthly expenses, paying extra, especially the amount of extra that I'm paying each month on my student loans, would be nearly impossible because I wouldn't know if I have enough to cover things like mortgage and groceries and gas and electric and water and those type of other expenses. So it's super important that I budget those out. That way I know how much extra I have and how much extra I can contribute on top of the minimum payments due for my student loans. So that, I would say, is kind of the most important key one of all of them, because without budgeting and knowing how much money is coming in and how much money I can put out towards my student loans, none of this would even be possible. So that's my major tip, making sure that my finances are in order and in check and that I'm budgeting. That way I can more rapidly put money towards my student loan debt. So that concludes this debt payment update. At the time of filming this in March of 2021, I have put just under around $35,000 towards my student loan debt. I hope by the time I make the next update that number will have risen and then my overall debt would have come down. If you're someone who's like me and you're going through this time in your life where you're having to pay off student loan debt, don't worry, you're not alone. I think it's best if we bind together and encourage each other. That way we can share financial knowledge with one another and help each other both get towards the goals we have of becoming financially independent and debt free from our student loans. So thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a comment down below if you found this video helpful and if you would like to see other videos like this in the future of me giving updates about how I'm doing with my student loans. I also would like to make, maybe for the future video, some type of graph. Maybe I can have like a graph that says at the top, debt free or something like that, and I can keep coloring it in as I put more money towards my student loans. And in each video I can kind of show you where I am in that chart in the process. So if that's something you'd like to see, leave a comment down below and I'll see if I can make something up like that with my wife. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching and I will see you in the next video. Take care.